Hola, boa tarde. O meu nome é Putri e questa minha parceira Amelia.
Hola, boa tarde. O meu nome é Amelia, and now we're going to tell you about Luis Vaz de Camões.
So without further ado, let's get into our main topic.
Luis Vaz de Camões was born in 1524 or 25 in the city of Porto in the Kingdom of Portugal. He grew up in Coimbra on the Portuguese coast. It was there, presumably in an environment of monastic study, that he acquired an encyclopedic culture that he later proved to his works, which include history, geography, mythology, astronomy, anthropology, ancient and modern literature, rhetoric and poetics, and also natural science. From 1543 to 1548, he was at court in Lisbon, and it was during this time that he practiced writing courtly poetry. Some of his love affairs took him into brief exile in Ribatejo, perhaps also in Almerim, to calm the urges of his young blood. In the city of Lisbon, he gained a considerable reputation as a playwright. He wrote several plays anonymously and others signed, among them a comedy in verse, Auto dos Infantrios, and another in prose and verse, Commedia del Reseleuco, both of which are inspirational verses. In between 1548 and 1550, he left to join the Portuguese forces in Africa. In one of these battles, he was shot in the right eye, leaving him blind, or severim de faria, or in another version, by a spark or a reloaded ember in mortar cannon that was lit and fired, or faria zosa. This accident caused him considerable trauma that he expressed several times in his writings. The most famous book by Luis Vaz de Camões is Os Lusiadas. In addition to these achievements, Camões also managed with his artistic subtlety and skillful use of the classical Portuguese language to create a new poetic idiom that was a definite and necessary model of expression and paradigm of formulation in every stanza, in every rhyme, in every formulation, written with a grace that is still unparalleled today.
We will now move on to our discussion of the poem. We choose Os Lusiadas by Luis Vaz de Camões, the famous universal poet, for his depiction of how the Portuguese arrived to India, from Canto 7, stanza 15, 16, and 23.
E vejamos, entanto, que acontece aqueles famosos navegantes, depois que a branda fez enfraquece o furor dos ventos repugnantes, depois que a larga terra lhe aparece, vim de suas perfeitas constantes, onde vemos a mãe de Cristo ali e da novo costume novo rei. This poem tells the story of when the Portuguese fleet of Vasco da Gama sailed to spread Christianity in India. In the second row of the poem, it says aqueles famosos navegantes, that explains about the way they sailed to another continent. This also points to Vasco da Gama as a famous navigator and leader. In the 7th and 8th row, there's onde vemos a mãe de Cristo ali e da novo costume novo rei, which means there they came to sow Christianity, to change custom, and crown a new king.
Tendo que a nova terra chegaram, eles embarcadores de pescadores acharam que o caminho lhe mostraram, de caleco onde eram moradores. Para lá logo as porras se inclinaram, porque esta era a cidade das melhores. Do malbar melhor onde vivia, o rei que a terra toda possuía. In stanza 16, Camões explains the situation after the arrival of the sailors from Vasco da Gama's fleet. The local people showed Portuguese sailors the way to Caleco, Malabar, an area on the west coast of India that stretched from the Canara region to Cape Comorin, and that's where the king lived.
Chegada Frotaurico Senhorio, português, mandado, logo parte a fazer sabedor o rei gentil da fim da sua tal remota parte, entrando o mensageiro pelo rio que ali na sonda centra, a não fistarte, a cor, o gesto estranho, o traje novo, fez com horror a felo todo o povo.
Later, the Portuguese sailors met the king and asked for permission to establish themselves on the shores by sending a messenger informing the king about their arrival. And because of their strange appearances, many locals were curious about the Portuguese men. On the third line of the stanza, a fazer sabedor o rei gentio,
Camões uses this term to refer to all people who are not Christians nor Muslims.
Okay, so that's all for our presentation.
Thank you for listening.
Obrigada!